What is it with North Idaho College trustee Greg McKenzie and the minutes?
Wait a minute, fellas.
Since the October 2023 meeting, the minutes have been postponed, delayed, and unapproved.
Wait a minute, Doc.
What's going on?
Wait a minute. No. Wait a minute.
With sane trustees, the minutes for the October 25th NIC board meeting would have been easily approved at the November 20th, 2023 board meeting. But no, with the KCRCC rated and vetted trustees, this happened.
All right, looking at the consent agenda item, I would like a motion to pull off the regular meeting minutes. I'd just like an opportunity to discuss with the secretary on some wording, and I think we can come back at the next regular meeting for minor changes on those.
Between the November meeting and the December meeting, McKenzie was out as chair. Welcome new chair Mike Wagner. Chair Wagner ran the December 20th meeting where McKenzie zoomed in from outer space where he's visiting with his kids.
Go ahead, Chair
McKenzie. All the meeting minutes, postpone one more meeting off the consent agenda. I requested some Word documents for the unapproved minutes, and I had not received them yet. And I would just like this scheduled meeting and have some input. So if all the minutes off the consent agenda could be taken off and just a head start remaining, that'd be wonderful.
Wait a minute.
Now we're into January, and the board still hasn't approved the October 25 meeting minutes. In fact, from the board's January agenda, you see 7 sets of minutes that have yet to be approved, all postponed at the request of Trustee McKenzie.
Wait a minute. You.
Can I ask one question of Dr. Swain?
Sir.
Chair Wagner. So, board business needs to happen, and these minutes are kind of growing in importance.
Well, because you keep kicking the can down the road, Greg. Why can't you get your corrections in on time? It's been 3 months.
Is there a deadline to get items into the board packet? Like, how much time do you need before board meetings to get stuff into the board packet?
We try to set the cutoff at 2 weeks so that Mike and I can meet and have that.
That's for new agenda items, but for items that are already on the agenda that fellow trustees want to incorporate onto the...
It's still 2 weeks because we got to get the board packet put together and get it disseminated out so it's not coming out at the last time.
Yeah, so...
The last minute, so 2 weeks.
Friday morning, they submitted, minute recommendations, and they're not included in this board packet.
Friday morning isn't 2 weeks ago, Greg. And weren't you chairman for a year? Would you know after all that time that the deadline to get your minute corrections into the packet would be 2 weeks?
I think we're on to the consent agenda.
Right, and I'd like to take a 10-minute break now.
Well, during that break, I was hoping I could hand out some meeting minutes. I was hoping people could...
We have, I think the chair will address that, but our goal is not to hand things out at meetings and ask people to take action.
My goal is to have accurate minutes, and that should be every board's motivation.
Wait a minute.
Some of the minutes are inaccurate, and I'm trying to...
I think we'll address that when we come back.
Hand this out?
No.
So this is a fellow trustee you're trying to silence, sir.
No, I'm not trying to silence you. There's a
Sir,
process.
I'm trying to provide input to the minutes that are before the board.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
All trustees have the ability to go in and say that when we have a consent agreement or a consent agenda to look at changing the
Okay,
minutes.
we'll address it then, sir.
All right.
Recess.
Wait a minute.
Back from recess, McKenzie explains what he sees as wrong with now the 3-month stale October meeting minutes.
I see some of them, there's some inaccuracies. For example, like the October 25th. Well, we can talk about it like when it's not on the consent agenda, but like, for example, it's just things like reconvene the meeting for the October 25th. We never had an executive session before. So that gives the impression that there was an executive session before. Among other discussions that were important and motions that were missed related to November and December, like literally motions where votes were taken and vote counts and just completely missed. So there's a couple issues. I'd like to hand these out and people can look them over.
Wait a minute.
He's wrong about the missed motions and vote counts. Something that overt would have been pointed out by several trustees. Here is the document he handed out, his version of the corrected minutes from the October 2023 meeting. McKenzie's additions are in red underline, and what he's removed is in red strike-through. And he's wrong here. There was a call to order and a quorum, which is required before the body can enter into executive session. They failed. Now, it could be mentioned, but it's not. So the original language is okay. Nothing is technically missing, but this isn't the biggest burr in McKenzie's saddle. Take a look at this page of his corrections and additions. Are these minor, like he mentioned earlier? The original minutes are adequate, but here McKenzie wants to spin a nifty narrative with himself as star hero regarding these policy updates. These details are completely unnecessary, but it's all about McKenzie wanting to make himself look good. And remember, this is the reason he's been postponing approval of the October minutes for 3 months now. It took him 3 months to write this. 3 months of missing a 2-week deadline. He makes a motion on these items.
I would like to, of 3 of those 4, that's 5, 6, and 8. I would like to postpone, but I also have October 25th minutes that I was hoping to approve today that haven't been included in the board packets that were provided on Friday, and that's my goal for today.
Do you get the impression that he's sabotaging his own efforts here? 2-week deadline, 3 months to get his act together, submitting this much paperwork at the last minute, which is against the open meeting laws. And what was that motion again?
Yes, I have a motion to remove tabs 2, 5, 6, and 8 from the consent agenda. And then I have other follow-on motions.
Do we have a second?
Sure, I'll second it for discussion.
They discuss, but they really don't get the numbers down.
Would you repeat the tabs you want to?
Tab 2, it's regular meetings.
No, that's okay. Just give me the tab numbers.
Tab
again.
2, 5, 6, and 8.
5, 6, and 8.
And my goals are to approve tab 2 and to postpone 5, 6, and 8.
What follows actually happened. I have edited out the boring parts.
So you want to pull 2, 5, 6, and 8, right?
Yes. I have a motion to post, 5, 6, and 8. I make a motion to postpone tabs 5, 6, and 8
No, you mean postpone?
until the next meeting. I have another motion to adopt October 25th, and I have amended minutes for that. So one motion is just a tab 6, 7, and 8 is to postpone.
Wait a minute.
Hey, wait a minute.
5, 6, and 8, right?
5, 6, 8.
5, 6, and 8.
Okay.
5, 6, and 8.
I will second the motion to postpone tabs 5, 6,
Tab 2, 5, 6, and 8.
5, 6, and 8. 5, 6, and 8, right?
5, 6, and 8.
Okay.
5, 6, and 8.
5, 6,
2, 5, 6, and 8.
Tab 2, tabs 2, 5, 6, and 8.
5, 6,
5, tab 6, 5, and 6.
This is a level beyond the normal level of chaos that we've expected from the trio. It's all catered to McKenzie, but he still wants his red line minutes to be entered into the record. Yes, just as he submitted what he just handed out. But let's move on to the October minutes, now widely known throughout the planet as Tab 2.
I haven't amended minutes for October 25th, which in my mind is kind of critically important because it's been numerous months since this meeting occurred.
Numerous months because he keeps postponing it.
And I would like to hand that out. It's in red line format, so you can see the pretty minor changes that have occurred.
They've been spending almost a half an hour on McKenzie throwing a tantrum. The rest of the board can outvote him. They can pass all the minutes, and they'd be done with it.
Would it be appropriate if we were allowed to take these home and review them ourselves and come back at the next meeting and be prepared with comments?
That was the goal by providing them on Friday, sir, but they were not distributed to the board as I requested.
Remember, they were not distributed because McKenzie ignored the deadline. He didn't include his red lines Friday, but he still wants to shove them down everyone's throat.
The change need to be noted, and they were not submitted as red lines. They were submitted as as regular unedited documents, so it would make it very hard for anybody who was reading it to know what changes took place and what didn't, and what was Susie's version of the minutes and what was your recommended changes.
Thank you, Dr. Swain, for schooling McKenzie. Having lost this battle, McKenzie decides to change the subject to something completely ludicrous.
Board packets are completely optional. So,
I don't think so.
yes.
So
We've had this conversation many times.
And the record is pretty clear on who gets it right.
Ooh, better put some ice on that burn, Greg. The board packet is also for the public. But then again, remind yourself that these rated and vetted trustees, like their masters at the KCRCC, do not believe in transparency.
I am definitely against approving the minutes as they are.
Now wait just a damn minute.
You thought we were done with the numbers. Nope.
Things that need modifying are tab 2, which are still on the agenda,
Right.
5, 6, and 8. Not modifying is tabs 3, 4, 7, and 9.
Next, he says he'd like to approve the minutes. Do you believe him?
I would like to approve these minutes. I don't think it's be showing good governance to NWCCU that we can't approve minutes after 4 or 5 months.
Wait a minute. I see what's going on here.
Do you like the way he throws out NWCCU like it's some magic spell that makes everything better? It's not, Greg. The issue isn't the minutes. It's your behavior. It's board governance. It's the exact stuff you're doing right now that the NWCCU is paying attention to.
Well,
Look, you don't
Mr.
have to.
Benny-
Wait a minute.
Will the minutes finally be approved? Will things run smoother now that McKenzie is no longer the chair and no longer unilaterally postponing the minutes so that he can rewrite himself into glory? Well, wait a minute. How many months is it to November?
Straßenbahnhaltestelle.